under presentations, item 2.
Every budget that the city produces includes, a lot of background information for our department, the Department of Library and Recreation Services. We always include, because this is what drives our purpose, this is what the budget is for, our mission statement and our core services. Again, this is for the Department of Library and Recreation Services. And we provide different services, but they are largely fulfilling a lot of the same community needs. So our mission statement, serving our neighborhoods and empowering generations by bringing people together to foster community, lifelong learning, and healthy lifestyles. And then we've kind of called out those core services, which of course is for the library always been, to promote and foster lifelong learning, to promote scholastic achievement for young people. We do also provide leisure opportunities and cultural events, as of course recreation. And then preventing isolation and promoting vibrancy of the senior and disabled adult community. Obviously, this is something the senior centers do an amazing job with, but it's something that we all want to contribute to, because it's an important goal for us as a department. And then the city has identified their citywide priorities, and we've picked out those ones that the library kind of promotes with our services. So again, it's the leisure services, reading, literacy, self-directed learning. That's important. You'll note with summer learning, I know sometimes parents or teachers will want to get a free book to give to their kid, and we always really encourage kids to choose their own books, because that's a big part of what summer learning is about, as well as all of our year-round programs, is encouraging self-directed learning, self-initiated. And then, of course, we also, very importantly, provide internet access to kind of cover that gap that exists for a lot of people, a surprising number of people in our community. So not just computers, of course, but other technology, and then people to help members of our community use that technology and build their skills, and also just accomplish their goals of whatever personal business that they are working on. And then again, reducing social isolation and promoting the community building with events, but also just the day-to-day. We have our regulars that come in. We love to see them, and they love to see us. And then for public safety, providing those activities that take up the free time of young people who might otherwise be doing other things. And then also, the United We Stand, building bridges between people who might not otherwise come together with cultural events and things like that. Then starting off, I think you all know this, we have 4 libraries. So these are our 4 libraries. I was very happy. I think I presented this chart before, but I was absolutely thrilled to be able to change those numbers in the leftmost column of open hours per week. But this is the restored hours, and we've got quite a few months under our belt with this, and it's working well. We've also, just to give a sense of the relative sizes of our libraries, included the collection size of each of the 4 branches. So you can see our ceremony main library obviously has a much larger collection. So somebody doing intensive research might choose that location, whereas somebody, in one of the neighborhoods looking for something to support their homework, there's homework assignment or just something to read for leisure, will find it in their collections. Annual circulation I've also included just to kind of show the relative busyness of each of the libraries, and then annual visits. And I do want to say that this is for last fiscal year, and so actually most of that fiscal year we did not have these restored hours. So you're going to see those, particularly for Bayshore and John Daly, you're going to see those numbers hopefully go up considerably in the next fiscal year.
Shayla, before we move on, we do have Teresa calling in as an attendee. Could you just make me co-host, and I can help with this as you're going through this?
Thank you. Was that successful?
Yes.
Excellent. There we go. And onto the numbers, the budget. So this is our funding sources and revenue. The library is not a revenue generating division, but we do bring in some small revenues, and I've itemized them here. Most of our funding source is going to be the general fund for operations, and then we were also incredibly grateful to be the recipient of some of that Measure Q funds that the community supported by passing Measure Q with that local sales tax. So that funding is used for paying staff for the Bayshore Library to restore those hours at that location. It's both full-time and part-time staff at that location. And yeah, we wouldn't be able to do it otherwise. So just wanted to call that out from the other general fund monies. And then below, as I mentioned, we do bring in a little bit of revenue. We do receive by agreement a payment from the County of San Mateo for providing services to Broadmoor and Colma, because they're part of our service area. We receive, this is probably a one-time thing, ARPA funds this year is pretty significant for that technology that we talked about. We do take in miscellaneous fees. This is fees for lost or damaged items, payment for printing on the computer, that sort of thing. And then finally, grants and gifts. We receive some various grants from the state library. We also get local donations, and most significantly, we get a huge amount of support in the form of grants from the DCPLA. And so all these numbers are look very specific, but they are actually just calculated estimates because it varies. And again, here's our expenditures, which is the other side of the budget, the expenditures. And we have our expenditures divided into 4 categories. This is how the city budget is organized. And so you can see from this that the biggest part of the pie is going to be salaries and benefits. It's the people that make the library work. And so I'll start kind of breaking that down a little bit. We have currently 19 staff, including myself. And also there's a quarter of a wonderful administrative assistant who he works with the recreation program as well. And it's just nice to have that cooperative arrangement and have that support from him. We have more librarians than we had before because we have a librarian a manager at each of our 4 libraries. In addition to that, we have our youth services librarian, a cataloger, that's kind of a specialty thing, and a reference librarian that's based at the main library where we have most of our reference collection. And then we have library assistants. So there's kind of 2 series of staff, the librarians and the library assistants. And the library assistants that are, for the most part, supporting the circulation at all of the locations. So there's 9 library assistants in the 4 locations. And then we have the supervising library assistant who handles our technology. And then we also have someone who supports the cataloger and the cataloging function. All these are union civil service positions. And so the costs that are in the budget that you saw are salaries, obviously, but also benefits, including retirement and unemployment insurance, all the other costs associated with personnel. And then here is our organizational structure. So those are the same positions that you saw on the last slide, but just sort of arranged in a tree. And this is something that's also published as part of the budget book every year. So you can kind of see how we're arranged. We have those 4 libraries in there, and then you'll see the technical support and circulation manager kind of off to the left side. She's based out of the Ceremony Main Library, as is the collections and processing manager and the youth services librarian, because that's where our business office is located. So they also fill in at that location, doing just general ceremony circulation and reference, but they are supporting system-wide services. And then we absolutely could not do it with just those people. We need our fabulous hourly staff. We have different types of hourly positions. We have an extra help librarian. Currently, there's actually a vacancy. If you know a librarian who's looking for a part-time job, very part-time, 10 hours a week, we have an opening there. And then we have an hourly library assistant who's helping with circulation at the John Daly Library. And we have aides and pages, and aides help provide customer service and at the front desk, and pages for the most part are putting things back and making sure that when you're looking for a thing amongst that 101,000 items at Ceremony Library, you can find it right there on the shelf where it's supposed to be. And then the next section, this is actually kind of a small section of the pie, but part of what we have in our budget is fixed internal charges, and they're just that, they're fixed. They're a share of cost for some of the important internal services. So there's services that the city provides to all the departments, of course. So there's city IT, so there's a network and all the hardware involved in that, the telephones that people reach us on, copiers, our insurance, building maintenance, which actually is not just repair of the buildings, but also custodial, which is a daily thing, of course. And then inter-office messenger, which we are probably one of the heavier users of. So the total for that is $820,000. And as I said, it's just calculated as a share of cost to make sure that these services are available. And we appreciate them. Services and supplies. This is kind of it seems like a little bit of a catch-all. There's a lot of things that fall under services and supplies. So there, a big one is going to be, of course, the books and the DVDs and the CDs. We still buy CDs, those sorts of things, the physical collection. And then we also have our public databases and e-resources. So these are going to be the ebooks, as well as other article databases, research tools that are mainly used by students. And so I think you'll see those things shift over time. I went ahead and looked up what we call our circulation for our ebooks, actually, and I saw that the fiscal year, the previous fiscal year, that it was a nice healthy 76,400 and change. Previous year, almost 66,000. Year before, almost 46,000, and the year before, 38,000. So it's a real, very clear trajectory of increased adoption of these e-resources, the ebooks particularly. And it's something that's, obviously in a time of COVID, there's this touchless. It's also super convenient. You can do it from home. And then we still, I have a lot of regular patrons that will use, both types of resources depending on where the title that they're looking for is. And then in addition to those public facing things, we also have our contractual services, which are kind of like fixed costs that maybe are not for internal city services. So we're part of the Peninsula Library System, of course. And so we have a share of cost for some of those services that we all share. So delivery, we have delivery amongst all the libraries in the Peninsula Library System. And so that falls under contractual services. Lots of different things like that, all the way down to, I think I tend to mention this, but paying someone to care for our fish in the fish tank at the Westlake Library and maintenance fish. It's a saltwater aquarium. And then utilities and miscellaneous it's utilities, obviously. And miscellaneous is going to include things like office supplies, mileage reimbursement if staff have to drive somewhere. We pay for when somebody uses a credit card to pay for something, we pay for processing fees, those sorts of, just kind of a catch-all. And then finally, this looks like a little piece, but it's actually one of the more significant areas in the program, supplies and performers. It's not the most expensive thing. We have a lot of staff-led programs, so obviously the staff end of that would have come out of the personnel, but the supplies used for those programs when we contract with somebody. So for instance, we just had Autumn Moon, special Autumn Moon story time. It was in Mandarin and actually bilingual in Mandarin and English. And so we have somebody come in and provide that. We have, we had somebody come in, well, we had many people come in over the summer, but somebody came into Westlake to talk about bees. And so that would all fall under this. And so we have a small budget just as a regular, through the course of normal business. And then we receive a lot of support from through grants, particularly the DCPLA, of course. They're always funding not just contractors and things like that, but one of the most recent ones, which we're really excited about, the rigamajig, which is kind of a thing that can, it can be a destination. It's at the Ceremony Library, and then we were also able to stretch that money a little bit and put smaller rigamajigs at other locations. And then the Measure K funded is, I think we talked about this with the summer learning. This is just the funds that were allocated specifically to summer reading programs countywide. And so we have been able to spend directly our share of it for the first time this year. And it's primarily used to buy the books that we give out during the summer, that kids get to pick their book and take home for their personal library. And then also for prizes, including this year we're gonna increase the number to 4 scholarships. So people completing the program entered in to win a scholarship, and we have 4 lucky winners and $1,000 scholarship. So a little, it's a start, or maybe an addition to get them towards their goal. I like it when it's somebody that's young enough to really give it time to grow, but also, knows about college. Oh, and that's something else for something later. And so that was all I had. I'm gonna go ahead and stop my share. If anyone had any questions.
Okay, hearing none, let's move on to the trustees report.
I have a question, Dr. Litz.
Go ahead, Justine.
I have a quick question, Chela, because I was just wondering around as we've opened up more hours for the 2 branches, how is the patron participation? I know you kind of mentioned that it covers, but have you seen like a big increase? And then I think thanks for sharing the kind of breakdown of the staffing. I was also curious about that, like how has the staffing felt now that the hours have increased? Like, do we feel like we have, we're pretty well staffed? And because I have been hearing from some folks that it feels a little bit understaffed in some areas, and I'm like curious.
I think everyone probably pretty universally is having this experience of, I think for whatever reason, there's people out more often. So it's always a challenge to have, I mean, if everyone were in and working, we'd be great. But as one person's out and you can cover, but then you have those days where it's like, a perfect storm. So the additional hours, open hours, of course, to cover, that just stretches it. And so when you do have somebody out and you need to cover, it's just a longer period of time. So, but people will come from one location to another. Our youth services librarian was out today, and one of the staff from John Daly came over and provided a story time so that the families that come to that wouldn't have to miss it. So everybody just kind of covers for one another. As far as the traffic, it's definitely slower than we would like in terms of, I mean, it's increasing, but it's increasing at I hope it will continue to increase and accelerate in increasing.
Yeah, I know some places are still kind of transitioning back into fully being in person, or some folks, so that makes sense. Go ahead.
I was going to say, particularly at the smaller branches, the staff at those locations, our librarians, Christine and Zach, are just constantly looking for opportunities to do outreach. They're going to the schools, to preschools, to community events, all those things. So they're working hard to make sure that people know, hey, we're open.
That's great. And then in terms of like, as folks are calling out, is there do we have like a minimum staff? Like, do we have like any conditions that kind of prep folks to keep the library open, or like some minimum staffing requirements?
We do require that there be at least 2 people on duty. I think that feels different at different locations. I mean, that's plenty, a lot at a smaller location, but, would be a fairly shocking thing at some of the other locations. Saying two, though, usually means three because everyone's entitled, of course, to their breaks and their lunch or dinner break or whatever. So, you know, we have to fill in, and sometimes it's for a whole day, or we just go over and make sure that everyone gets a chance to have a duty-free lunch.
Thanks for answering my questions. Appreciate that.
Actually, Chayla, since we've got one member not present and another on the phone, would you mind sending out a copy of the slide presentation that you just ran through, you know, as an attachment?
You can do that.
All of the trustees, at least, or, you know, the distribution list. Thank you.
And for President Lex, we actually have both trustees here with us now, so they're on the list. They joined while the presentation was going on. So if you wanted to do that official kickoff for the meeting and get the business portion done.
Okay. Teresa, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear.
Oh, super.
Thank you for taking over. My computer is totally out, and I do apologize for the inconvenience on my end, but I appreciate it.
Well, no worries. Would you like to conduct the meeting, the official meeting, or would you like me to just continue?
You can go ahead and continue. Thank you.
Okay,
If-
well, you're welcome.
Please.
Given that, I'll call the meeting officially to order. Please follow me as we recite the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag
To the flag
of
of
the
the
United States of America and to the republic for which
to
it
the republic
stands,
for which it stands,
one
one
nation,
nation,
under God,
under God,
indivisible,
indivisible,
with liberty and justice
and
for all.
justice for all.
Having that, Chayla, would you give us a roll call, please?
President Faupua,
Present.
Vice President Lex,
Present.
Trustee Santos,
Present.
and Trustee Logarta.
Present.
Oh, super. Thank you all for making it. With that, I would entertain a motion to approve the agenda with the modifications, striking items 2 and 3 under presentations.
I motion.
Is there a
Second.
second? All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion passes. Also, I would like a motion to approve the minutes for tonight's meeting. Excuse me, approve the minutes for the last regular meeting of July 19th, 2022. Is there a motion to approve the minutes?
I motion.
Motion to approve.
I second.
Okay. We have a motion and a second to approve the minutes. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed, please say nay. Okay, the motion passes. We have had a budget overview under presentations. And so now we'll move into the trustees report section, beginning with the subcommittee report, which should be parenthetically called the B project. There hasn't been too much progress on this at this point. Chayla has some information to share about the costs that we're going to incur if we use the Bayshore Library site as the place for our colony of bees. So Chayla, do you want to review that?
I've been working with people in Public Works, and so we took a look at the roof area there. I think everyone was in agreement that an area that was easy to view from within the library would work well, and the area that we identified actually wouldn't require too much to accommodate. I guess there's roof tiles that they need to install. And the other thing is access to that for the regular access for maintenance to that area. And so just those two things, which would be installed by our public works staff. The estimate I received was around $2,000 is what we would expect. This would be one-time costs. And then the fees are their own thing.
Okay, so we would be looking in round figures for the first year's budget of $6,000 to establish the colony and for the annual maintenance of a healthy beehive, plus the additional benefits that we would receive of the educational programs, the informational placards, the 100 jars, relatively small, I think, but jars nonetheless of honey from our very own hive. And, you know, I'll just say the satisfaction of having this additional educational and environmental aspect to our libraries. And hopefully, if we do use the Bayshore Library, bringing more traffic in, you know, out of curiosity and through the programs that we offer. I did receive today a presentation from a person, and her name is Emily Usher. She is a alveole representative, an environmental educator, and a beekeeper. And I have sent it out to everyone as a copy to all that were on the distribution list for the announcement of this meeting. So you should have that in your email inbox. And it is about an hour-long presentation, but it's a YouTube clip. So, you know, you can watch 15 minutes and then drop out and watch 15 minutes the next day until, you know, you get through the whole thing. But I think it's both informative and inspirational, and I encourage everyone to take a look if you can possibly spare the time. Teresa, your symbol is on my screen. Did you want to add something or comment?
No, I'm sorry.
Okay, no worries. Are there any questions on the bee project at this point? I should add that I am going to move into, I'll just say fundraising, and start looking for funding sources for both the cost assessed by the city as well as the annual cost from alveole. I will be asking for meetings with various community organizations to see if they would be able to underwrite all or a portion of the budget. And hopefully by the time we meet next month, I'll have something to report on that. But that pretty much is where we are, and I'd be happy to answer any questions that you might have or listen to any comments. And actually that reminds me of something that I wanted to bring up back connected to item 2 under presentations, the Chamber of Commerce. One of the areas of interest that the Chamber has is finding meeting space for business individuals that may come to town considering starting a business or wanting to find out more about the community, getting into the libraries for demographic information and those kinds of things. And I would like to have a partner to review our public use of library facilities policy and just see where we are in that in terms of how well that policy interfaces with this express need by the Chamber of Commerce. And then have a discussion and put it on the agenda for the next meeting. So is there anyone who would be willing to work with me by email or by telephone in reviewing that policy?
I would be down.
Super. Okay,
Yeah.
Justine, I'll be in touch tomorrow by email and we'll get something going.
Text me, Dr. Lex. It's
Oh, okay. I'll text.
or call me. Yeah.
Okay, text it'll be. Thank you. Any other comments or questions?
I have a question, Mr. Stephen Stolte. I have a question in if we're looking in fundraising a portion of this funding or the amount, which is 6,000, what are the criteria or what are the logistics for a library for us to fundraise? What are the must or what do we need to do as far as we cover all the bases that we're not overstepping our boundaries?
So the way that other commissions are tackling that one is by sort of targeting different funding sources or funders. So number one, you could have a nonprofit organization such as one of our favorite partners here tonight, DCPLA, something like that, that could provide funding. You could target individual businesses. And I'm happy to have the library or even the city manager's office help, send out official letters from the trustees to get that kind of money. But it's nice to just kind of have a targeted approach to it.
Right.
And I'm not sure what the grant landscape looks like for bees, but there might be something out there. I'm sure maybe you've looked into that already a little bit, but there might be things you could apply to as well. But I'm happy to help.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. And I know you do. Thank you very much for all the help. Okay, so yeah, maybe a letter that's stating the whole process, the whole project, and what benefits every aspect, the educational part, the city local and stuff like that, if we can include that. And the sooner the better, we'll work on it. And I'm sure that DCPLA will be able to assist us in if they would love to, because I remember in the beginning that they want to be part of it, of the project. So I appreciate it.
Piggybacking on what you just said, Teresa, DCPLA is a partner in this joint venture. And right now, they have had their grant writer write a grant for us to cover those expenses. And I'm not sure what the status of that application is. I didn't want to follow up with Victoria at this point because I know she is up to her eyeballs in work getting the Arts and Literature Festival, organized and ready to go. I imagine Shayla will mention that in a minute, but DCPLA has been a very supportive partner in this so far. And when it comes time for the DCPLA report, if Jose wants to comment on that at all, we'd be happy to hear from you. Any other questions or comments?
Let me get some information from Victoria and I'll see what I can report.
Okay, super. Thank you, Jose.
Hey, Bill.
Yes.
Hi. Hi,
Go.
team. So, for the grant, definitely, I could, if we have one written up, a request for a grant, I can submit that to Bank of America.
Okay, well, I will write your name down and I'll be in touch, and let's find out what's needed to do that.
Awesome.
Thank you. Okay, any other great ideas? All right, let's move on then to community engagement, library event visits. Is there anyone who can report on that?
Yeah, I can report on it. I actually had the opportunity to have some surrounding branches donate for a back to school theme drive. I was able to have the opportunity to visit Geller 2 times. So it was just nice to, say hello, drop off some school supplies. I didn't get to go around and really speak to anybody that worked there too much other than Sarah and Shayla. But yeah, we were really happy to be able to do that for the community.
Okay, thank you. Any other trustees who can report on community engagement? Hearing none, we'll move on to item 7, the board vacancy. Stephen, do you know what the status is of our, well, actually, 2, 3. Yes, what the remaining vacancy on the board.
I do not have an update for you this evening. There was no appointment made at the last city council meeting.
By any chance, do you know who the council person would be who would make the nomination for this position?
I believe it's the vice mayor, Ray Buenaventura.
Okay. Is there anyone on the trustees that would feel comfortable making contact with Ray and asking him about this vacancy and encouraging him to review the applications and to make a nomination?
I can reach out.
Okay, Teresa, thank you very much. Maybe you can report on that at the next meeting in terms of progress. Any other comments on the board vacancy? Hearing none, Jose, you're up for DCPLA and all the great things that are going on over there.
Thank you, board, for your time. My name is Jose Villalobos. I am one of the directors of DCPLA, Daly City Public Library Associates. Our website is dcpla.org, and one of the things that we wanted to bring up was how an update on the Art and Lit Festival. I think, Shelley, you might have a slide. So this is basically the slide we'll be sharing to the community. It does have a QR code, so if you scan that, or if you go to our website, dcpla.org, you'll find more information on the Art and Lit Festival. There are opportunities for sponsorships. If there are anyone that wants to apply to be a vendor or an artist, or apply for one of our author talks as well. I believe we're still looking for folks if they are interested. We already have a number of sponsors already lined up. So far, we have, as of earlier today, I was informed that we have $18,600 in sponsorship donations. Our target is $25,000. We're looking to raise $25,000. The $18,600 does not include the in-kind donations from the Ceremony Center and the $950 that Music City San Francisco is paying directly to the musicians, thanks to one of our members that is participating in creating it, April. So shouts out to April, who is hooked it up with Music City SF. The other thing I wanted to bring up as well in regards to the Art and Lit Festival is we have secured the headlining author, Bren Bataclan, who did an author talk at the DC Library recently. He grew up in Daly City and has a graphic memoir called Fe, a Traumatized Son's Graphic Memoir. Bren is going to talk about his book, his paintings, and will lead a drawing workshop at the events. He's also designing 2 24x36 paintings that we will treat as a community mural. We'll let event attendees help paint, and once we finish, DCPLA will auction or sell the painting to raise more funds. We have at the Art and Lit Festival, we Fest. We will have a presentation by the creators of the movie Lumpia with a Vengeance, which is filmed here in Daly City, and many who worked on it are here from Daly City as well. They will be doing a Q&A moderated by the Daly City Arts and Culture Commission President, Joe Boston. Our stage at Center Courts at Ceremony Center will also feature performances by Jefferson High School's Mission Fusion Dance Group, the Daly City Youth Poet Laureate, the 22-23 Daly City Youth Poet Laureate Chloe Chow, as well as other poets from the DC YPL program. Chloe will be talking about the book she wrote and self-published when she was in 8th grade, and we'll also be having a ukulele workshop. In addition, we will have a temporary art gallery, hands-on art activities led by Daly City Public Library, Daly City Recreation, Daly City Youth Poet Laureate Chloe and her poetry zine, free mini henna tattoos, a djembe, the hand drumming workshop, and possibly a beat making workshop. We're still kind of in plans of the programming. We'd like to invite the library trustees. And so this is our pitch to the trustees. We'd like to invite the trustees up on stage at the end of events, along with Supervisor Canepa, Daly City Arts and Culture Commission, the Board of Directors of the DCPLA, and Daly City Council, to thank all the participants who participated and well as attended. So part of that pitch also is if we can list the library trustees on our advertising as a partner for the events. We're not asking basically to do any commitment, but we're hoping if you can come show support for the event. And also if you're open to volunteering to guard the artwork, help with the community mural, take photos, and engage with the public. And once again, it is going to be Saturday, November 5th from 11 to 3 at Saramonte Center.
Jose, thank you for being with us tonight. Thank you for the report. And how would you like the trustees to support this in terms of being listed? Would it be in print material, or how do you envision this?
Yeah, well, so we're already doing some. We're planning to have also like a banner at the event. So if you are open to just being listed as one of the partners, we'll include you as well on our advertising for the event.
Are there any objections by the trustees or the staff to what Jose has suggested?
Nope.
No.
Okay,
No
so
objections.
Put our names, Jose. Put our names on that banner.
Sounds good. So as you can see on the slide, it says in partnership with, we'll be including then the Daly City Library trustees as well. Also, I wanted to inform you that just to follow up on the grant proposal for the Aviole Urban Beekeeping Company, our executive director, Victoria Magbalang, informed me that the grant was submitted and is currently under consideration. We still haven't found out when we'll get a final word on it.
thank you for that update. Any questions for Jose? Okay,
So Jose, where do we sign up if we want to volunteer to help out with the task that you have mentioned?
To volunteer for the event? Yes, so definitely let either one of us know. I know Victoria is Executive Director Magbalang is kind of taking also as well any volunteers as well. So
Okay.
contact our Executive Director, Victoria Magbalang.
Okay, I'll reach out to her.
Other questions or comments? All right, let's move on to announcements and communications. Are there any announcements from the staff or trustees?
I have one announcement. There is a flyer that's going out from all San Mateo libraries in the county that San Mateo libraries in the county is proud to participate in story time that features themes of inclusion. And during the welcoming week of 2022, it's a time to celebrate the values that unite us as neighbors and make our communities more welcome to all who call San Mateo. So I have the flag. I will send it out to Kayla. Maybe she can for our libraries too. And also, I didn't have a chance to thank all the library staff and the Park and Rec staff that were involved in summer celebration. I was able to attend for some time and just watch how the community came out and enjoyed themselves. It was a beautiful day, I can recall. Bubbles, and see the laughter and to see family, and the little ones. So that was a well put.
Teresa, some of your message is broken up, at least on my end. So would you mind sending that information out by email or text to us? And then if there's a response that we need to make, we can do that individually. I think we may have lost Teresa. Okay. Any other announcements and communications? Hearing none, moving on to agenda building for the next meeting. Are there any suggestions for agenda items from the trustees? Based on our discussion from earlier, I would suggest that we include, and Shayla, this is subject, to availability and your concurrence, a report on the summer learning program. A B subcommittee report under trustees reports. Community engagement and library events and visits. The board vacancy, and of course the DCPLA report. Are there any other suggested agenda items for next week or next month?
That sounds good.
Thank you, Justine. Okay, well, that concludes our agenda for tonight. Are there any members of the public that are present who would like to comment? No? Thank you, Chayla. All right. With that, and at 7 o'clock exactly on my computer, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I motion.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Thank you very much, Angela. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed?
No.
Consider ourselves adjourned. Thank you.
Teresa did just text and apologizes. She's had a really hard tech day today.
Yeah, it has been hard. At least the last hour, I know.
Yeah. But you all have a good evening.
Well, next month, hopefully we won't have to worry about technology. We'll just have to worry about getting together in the chambers.
And getting there on time.
Yes. Okay. Well, see you all and have a good month.
Have a good one.
Have a good
Thank
evening.
you.
Thank you.